Hello everyone, this is Louisa from LA Paper Studio, and today I'm very excited to share this very cute project. I actually made this for my mother. Her birthday is coming up soon, and I'm also planning on making a few others, especially for my mother-in-law, who I think will also make good use of a project like this one for Mother's Day. This project is basically an apron shaped recipe book, organizer, and stand, and it's pretty neat. I try to think of anything that I would want when I am cooking, or when especially if I'm cooking a new recipe. So basically I'm going to go ahead and walk you through it real quick, and because it's gotten so much interest from other people, anyone who's seen it, and just a few people have seen it already, they've demonstrated a lot of interest, and they've already asked me for a few others. So I will be making a few of them, and in one of them I'll be using one of them as an example to create this video series for you, because I thought it's just a really neat project that you could that I wanted to share with y'all, that I think you could make really good use of. So to get started, most of my shapes are for silhouette cameo, so I used svgcuts.com, an afternoon at Aunt Elaine's, especially for my decoration pieces. The apron is from the Silhouette Cameo store, and it's it's an apron, and I altered all the images because the apron basically had some strings coming out of it, and I cut them to just have this front piece. These two pockets I handmade. This pocket does come with the piece, but I kind of altered a little bit to make it to create some flaps to fold it so that it would have a little bit of a give. You can see you can insert a few more things in here. So this rolling pin is from the SVG Cuts file, and I enlarged it, and I kind of played with the measurement a little bit so that it would fit this piece of paper that I printed. And all of this mini album is in Spanish right now. However, the ones that I'm going to be creating are going to be in English, because my mom is a Spanish speaking person, but the other people that these are going to, they're not. But so I create this little table that I found online of good measurements, conversions that you would want, like what a teaspoon converts to fluid ounces, and how a tablespoon converts to cups and whatnot, and all those kinds of measurements, and I just kind of split it into 3 categories. So it's pretty useful, and it goes in this little pocket, and it's also kind of cute. I embossed it using a wood grain texture from Doris, and then I used Mementos Putter's clay to give it this look, this color, and then I used Mementos Rich Cocoa for the outside of all of my images for inking on the outside. I did the same with this wooden spoon, and here I used conversions from Celsius to Fahrenheit. A lot of times when you go online, the recipes are from the UK or whatever other country, and they use different, you know, from the metric system converting to the British system, and etc. And then this little oven mitten, this one is also from svgcuts.com, and this one is just a temperature chart of what each meat should be, what temperature they should be cooked at. And they go in their little pockets, but I also put them on this little string, and it's pretty stretchy string in case she's working and she just wants to take a quick look. It's a good reference tool. So this whole book is supposed to be a useful tool for your kitchen. And what I did with all these 3 images is that I used some Mod Podge, the glossy version, the original version actually, and then I, after it dried, I sprayed some acrylic paint to make it waterproof. So if any water falls on here, it should not be a problem at all, since we're dealing with kitchen utensils. So it flips up this way, and here's the coolest part of it. It's a stand, so when you open it up, I hope you can see this. And it may be a little bit too big for the camera, but see this part here? It basically is a stand. So when it stands up, it'll be tilted. So it's a perfect stand for when you're working on your kitchen. And it's supposed to stay standing, not only as a decor piece, but as a good resource, recipe book resource. Then in each one of the pages, there's 6 pages. And each one has a tab with its little name of the category. I did salads, appetizers, sides, main dishes, desserts, and drinks. So 6 pages total, and then the last page, I'll kind of explain a little bit as I go. So each one of the pages has a little pocket, and it stretches pretty well, so you can fit a lot of different recipes. And I did these tags, and these tags are basically 6 by 4. And then I created these recipe instruction sheet. So it's double-sided, and so I added 3 tags on each one of the pages, and because they're double-sided, so she can handwrite 6 different recipes. And then also, if she finds any recipes on magazines or online, she can print them and she can store them here. So it's a really, really useful resource. Now, every single page has some of the cinch ribbon here. So I heavily decorated this mini album because it is a gift and I wanted it to be very special for her. But then aside from that, I also used whatever ribbon I used here, I used on the tags. So it's very color coordinating. And I'm sorry, but my kitty is on my craft desk, so you may see him in some frames. He does love to get some camera time. And then I put the name of this is salads in Spanish, of what it says here. And then up here I just put different decor depending on the sheet on the page. So you move on to sides, and this is the sides page. And I'm going to go ahead and grab one of these tags. And I'll keep this in mind for when we go to the last page. Like I said, just different colors and different papers. This is the sides page. And I use my cinch up here so that it rotates up, so you can have it standing and you don't ever have to fold it. But as you can see, it folds pretty well also. And this is the 3/4 of an inch cinch binding wire. And this is the dessert page with its cute little cupcake or cookie sheet. And this is the drinks. You can see some wine and some other glasses, and I put a lemonade jar and a little blender. And finally, this is the last page. Now the last page of the binding book, it doesn't flip up, so this is where the standing device, if you will, the standing piece of chipboard is glued to. And I will give you instructions in my video series, like I said, on how to make this. It's really quite simple. But basically, this last page, what you do, oh, I already had a recipe here, is let's say you're making a dessert. You would grab one of your tags and you just slide it in. And the reason I made this pocket is because when you're in your kitchen, you get your hands dirty when you're cooking, and sometimes you just you touch whether you want to or not. And I'm not a huge germaphobe, but I do try to keep it pretty clean. I don't like to cross-contaminate or contaminate at all. So let's say that if your hands are dirty, this is a piece of medium weight acetate sheet, and it is fantastic. I've already dirtied it up, and as you can see, I'm trying to scratch some glue off. And all you need is a paper towel, a damp paper towel, and you clean it up, and your recipe goes without harm. So so you can interchange whatever recipe little tag you're using. You can slide it in, which is fabulous. Let's say you have a main dish instead recipe that you would want to work on. You just go ahead and slide it in, and there it goes. Now, I also thought, what happens because this is a pretty good size square, however, she may print some recipes off online and they may not come on 4x6 size. So what happens if you have an 8.5 by 11? So I added these clips, and she just can clip her recipe on, and it will not be protected by the acetate sheet, but it will be clipped on. And because this stands in a diagonal, it's perfect for you to be cooking, and it's perfect for you to see, and it's standing up, which is one of my biggest pet peeves when I'm working off of a printed recipe. A lot of the times I don't have a stand in my kitchen, so for looking at my recipes, so I have to look down on the paper. So it's a pretty special project. It is very time consuming. It took me about each page, between the cutting, the decorating, the putting together, the cinching of the ribbons, and all that will probably take you about 4 hours each page. It has 6 pages, like I said, plus the front and the back. The front and the back and cutting each one of the individual aprons will probably take you another 4 hours. So you're looking at about a whole week worth of working on this project. What I did is that I did 2 pages per day. I started my first day, I did the whole day just cutting the bones of the recipe book, and then and choosing all the papers. I try to do that ahead of time, just so that I have everything lined up and that I can cut everything through. And then after I had everything cut and assembled and I'd already bounded, then I started into the working and decorating each page, as you saw, with the little flowers and the buttons and the ribbons and what have you. So like I said, I'm going to go ahead and do a video series on this apron. I just wanted to give you a quick introduction onto how the finished product is going to look. Okay, so just a quick edit on the video. As after I filmed it, I realized that you will need more paper and more materials than I had listed. So before I let it get too far, this is a quick little edit. I actually ran to the store and because I just don't want to have to keep going back to it every day. I feel like I've been to the store, to the craft stores, both Joann Michaels and Hobby Lobby. So you will need ribbon, and I think I did mention that because I am doing three of the apron albums, and they're all using the same paper pack. I will be, I've already chosen my papers, and my paper pad is all the same colors, which is this lighter yellow, this green, and this very pretty teal turquoise kind of color. But if you're only making one, you really will only need about 20 sheets of each. So if you can either buy them single sheet like I did. They were on sale, like I said, this at Joann's this week, so they were 35 cents each. So you can buy them a single sheet, or if you just want to buy one of the thick packs that brings a lot of them, that's probably a little bit more cost effective. However, because I wanted these specific hues, I opted for the single sheet. So you will need 20 solid. You will need, for your paper, like I said, one 12 by 12 48 sheet 48 paper pack will yield you about 4 to almost 5 albums. So with one paper pack you can make a lot of albums. So basically just one 12 by 12 48 sheet, or one 8.5 by 11. 8.5 by 11s also will do well. You do not need the full 12 by 12. And then, like I said, some ribbon. Now the ribbon is up to you how you're going to coordinate it, because I'm using these 3 colors for the album that I'm going to be using. Mostly the yellow for the solid. I'll probably use the green ribbon, and vice versa. I'll trade them off. Each one I'll do different colors. The other thing that I was going to say, if you're using, if you have a silhouette and you're using the apron files that I would recommend, this is kind of my measurements that I used. For the cover, you will need, for the solid part, so for this color, you will need to cut it at 7.5 by 11, and that will, and then place it on your mat, on your silhouette mat, and that'll cut your cover and also your back part. So you'll need 2 7.5 by 11s of the solid. The pattern will be 7 by 10.5 for both of them, so 2 different ones on those. For the pockets of the front, you will need a 3" by 2.5 inch, then a 3 by 3/4 by 2.25 for the 2 pockets. So you'll need 2 of these, and I'll probably leave this measurements at the end of the video in a picture. For the back part, you will need, like I said, the 7.5 of the solid by 11, the 7 by 10.5 of the pattern, and then for the inside, that big square pocket that we're doing with the acetate sheet, you will need a 6 by 6 will do a nice solid square. For the inside pages, you will need 6 of these and cut them so the solids will be at 7 by 11 inches, and the pattern paper will be 6.5 by 10.5, and then your inside pockets will be, for each one of those 6 pages, will be 6 by 4 inches. So you'll need 6 of these also. I've gone ahead and already pre-cut. I've done all of my cuts, and I have, this is for my front. This will be the 3 pockets. This is for the back. This will be, we'll cut the apron and the big square, and then these are my 6 sheet with my pocket up here. So I hope this is a better clarification of the materials that you will need. Like I said, if you have any questions, you can always comment on YouTube or leave me a comment on my blog if you're reading this through my blog, and let me know if you have any other questions that I can help with.